These are two devices which have quite a few similarities when it comes to the build quality as well as the software, but also they are quite different actually in quite a lot of ways after using the devices, and I have to say it is amazing that Xiaomi has created an experience which is very like the iPhone 6 Plus, but for quite substantially cheaper. You can get this for about 200 less than the iPhone 6 Plus base model, and you are getting a nice amount of storage as well as some significant advantages in other ways. We can just have a look at the build quality on these devices, and we can see here the iPhone 6 Plus has an all-metal design here, which is absolutely gorgeous, versus the Xiaomi, which comes in with a kind of plastic back but with a very nice premium design across the edges here. iPhone 5S-ish if you ask me. It does also have a very nice ergonomic curve here on the Xiaomi, which makes it nestle very nicely in the hand, as well as this nice kind of like Mi kind of logo, so you can see that when you're using the phone. And in terms of the practicality, both of them are quite slippery on the back, but the iPhone 6 Plus does resist the fingerprints a little bit better. This glossy back does kind of need wipe every now and again to keep it looking its best, but the Xiaomi does I think feel a bit more comfortable because of the curve here. It just nestles in the hand really nicely, even though it's obviously a little bit bigger than the iPhone 6 Plus at 5.7 inches versus 5.5, which is quite remarkable really. You can see the bezel is a little bit smaller, so you're going to get slightly more screen real estate there, which is quite nice. They both have a dual tone flash on the back, with a 13 megapixel OIS versus an 8 megapixel OIS on the iPhone, and both have speakers on the bottom. The USB ports are slightly different places though. I do prefer the iPhone 6's positioning there, but I do prefer the Xiaomi's positioning of the headphone jack as well as its power on and volume buttons, because I'm right-handed, whereas if you're left-handed you might prefer the iPhone's positioning here. I think the iPhone has an excellent advantage when it comes to getting into the device, because you don't have to keep stretching for the power button. You can just basically press this physical button and then use the Touch ID to get into it. I think Xiaomi could definitely implement something like that on the Mi Note 2, which would be very nice indeed. In terms of the displays here, we can see we're getting IPS LCD displays, which are absolutely gorgeous, which, as you can see from any angle here, even extreme angles, they retain excellent kind of viewing angles and colour reproduction. And it's remarkable that Xiaomi's managed to put such a quality display in the device, for saying it's a little bit cheaper obviously, and not skimp down on that aspect. I think the display of the iPhone 6 Plus is a little bit brighter. I did notice I could see it a little bit better outdoors. I need some batteries for my brightness tester just to show you that, but I can guarantee that you're going to get slightly brighter display on the iPhone. Nevertheless though, I think the display, because it's a little bit bigger on the Xiaomi, does mean that you're going to get much more content on there, which is nice. The PPI is a little bit higher on the iPhone though, because it is a bit smaller. And moving on from the displays, we're getting a quad-core processor with Snapdragon 801 with 3 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs internal storage versus your dual-core Cyclone with 1 gig of RAM and 16 gigs internal storage on the iPhone. I do think that's a little bit stingy if you ask me, and the price is very high for the 128 gig model, or even the 64 gig model on the iPhone 6 Plus. This comes with 64 gig, and I think there's a 16 gig model, but don't quote me on that for this trinket. I do like the fact that you're going to get some nice future-proofed kind of specs on the Xiaomi, because at the end of the day, when we're on the iPhone 8 or 9, the requirements of iOS may be such that it may not be able to push it on the iPhone 6 Plus as smoothly as it does today. So you do have to think kind of 5 years in the future, whereas this should be able to carry on. I think even the Snapdragon 800, for example, is a very capable processor today. So you know, props to Xiaomi for giving you the power there. But I think the optimization on both of them means that you're going to get a kind of similar experience when it comes to kind of like your day-to-day. As you can see, there's not really much in the way of differences really, and this is the crucial strong point of iOS, which makes it a real joy to use. It doesn't need such like octa-core processor, etc., just to run smoothly, which is nice. The batteries are a bit different on these two. You're getting a 3000 mAh battery in the Xiaomi Mi Note versus your 2900 and something on the iPhone 6 Plus. Generally, I've found the iPhone 6 Plus to have a slightly better battery life than the Xiaomi, probably attributable to the quad-core processor, slightly bigger display, and maybe some software optimizations which need to be carried out. I'm still getting 4 to 5 hours screen on time with this baby though, so it's not a huge issue, but they're both very strong in that regard. No removable batteries though, obviously, both of them fixed in there, so do be aware of that. Speaking of the cameras, as I said, they are quite different here. 30 megapixel OIS versus 8 megapixel OIS with focal pixel technology. Did take some pictures out and about with these two, and found that the performance was roughly equivalent on both of them. I did use the HDR mode to see if I could see any perceivable differences, and to be honest, I didn't. But then again, I've not really got a photography qualification, so I don't really know what makes for an excellent picture. But at the end of the day, they take very nice pictures, and I'm sure that you'll be happy with them. However, the video recordings are slightly different kind of kettle of fish here. I think that you're going to get a much smoother, stable experience on the iPhone 6 Plus. If for some reason the focusing can go in and out randomly on the Xiaomi, which I did actually take an example of, and you can view on this little clip. So quick little focusing and video test here of the iPhone versus the Mi Note on this very temperate day. Mi Note seemed to refocus there by itself. Let's go up close to something. Both quick to focusing quite close. I think the iPhone was a bit quicker there to readjust. Try it again. About the same there. So quite nice performance on both of these. Certainly look good on the screen. So maybe some software issue there that needs to be sorted out, but it's worthwhile mentioning the Xiaomi does support the 4K, which is very nice indeed. The only issue I found with the 4K is it does tend to heat up the device a bit to uncomfortable level, maybe because everything's so tightly packed in here. But I don't think it's going to cause like a massive issue unless it's a very hot day. Then you may want to stick with your full HD for now until they optimize the software. In terms of the actual software, you know, there are quite a few similarities here with the way that things open. As you can see, it's virtually identical, it's very nice to see this type of buttery smoothness on Android, which is a bit hit and miss when it comes to the optimization. So however, even though they are quite similar in terms of this kind of aspect, there are some differences here and there. For example, if you put that down there like that, you can see here, while they're quite similar in terms of the notification shade, if you slide to the left here, you can get access to your quick buttons, whereas on here you have to go right from the bottom and upwards. I think I do prefer that actually. It feels a little bit laborious, like going here and then swiping like somewhere on the left, also the fact that you don't get app drawer on the Mi Note could be a little bit strange. Personally, I'm quite used to it because I've got a Lenovo Yoga 8 which has the same kind of setup with Lenovo's kind of skin, but it does mean you're going to have to tidy things up a little bit with the use of folders. As you can see, I've got quite a few there. And when I did get the device, I needed to install the Google Play Store as well as a separate APK. And every now and again I do run into kind of like reminders that this is from China. And as you can see here quite a bit of Mandarin there. So this can be all hidden though, and it doesn't really affect the experience negatively. The camera interfaces are quite similar as well here. You can see here you got the wheel effect, which gives you access to your slow-mo, time-lapse, etc., as well as a panorama, whereas the Xiaomi, if we scroll to the right, you can just set them basically with buttons. You do get a cog here as well, which gives you the ability to set different settings here, quite a lot actually, which is pretty nice. And it's the same for the video recording, you get quite a lot of settings in there, and I do like that. The settings as well, can you just have a quick look at that? Again, you know, these could be separated at birth here. A very similar theme for both of them. However, the icons are kind of in different places. If you do look closely, you can see, like for example, the mobile options are here. Well, in fact, the mobile options are there as well. So yeah, very similar in terms of this particular screen. And I think on iOS you can see your installed apps here, whereas you have to select that to go into it on here. So that's probably the only real difference there. I think the Xiaomi does take a little bit more mastering to get to grips with the software if you're used to your stock Android or your TouchWiz. Things are done a little bit differently. For example, I still don't know how to delete icons off here. In fact, I don't think you can actually delete them. You can uninstall them. So if I just hold this down here and grab this and then drag that to there, then you uninstall, you see. But when I first got the device, I was just trying to delete icons. I was getting frustrated, I didn't know what was happening. So I do like the maturity of iOS though, in terms of how easy it is to get going with the device. You know what you're doing. You just go into the App Store, download your apps, and off you go. No like Chinese characters or anything on it. But then again, you are paying a premium for this, and you don't get the advantages such as, you know, your 64 gig memory with the base model, which is very nice on the Mi Note, and slightly higher resolution camera, which is debatable whether megapixels actually make a difference, but just some things to think about here with these two devices. I might do some other videos just seeing if we can see any differences in terms of the performance on the gaming and speed, and look out for that. So yeah, just a quick little review here between these two devices. I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, thumbs up the video, and I'll see you next time.